Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to use ArchiCAD with Cetopo. So in order to best use ArchiCAD with Cetopo or Cetopo with ArchiCAD, you need the plugin. So in order to get the plugin, you click your name here or this Manage button, which will take you to this view, and from here you go to Plugins and select your operating system and the correct file, and which in my case is ArchiCAD 24 for Windows, and download it. And this will get you this little file. Be sure if you're using macOS Catalina or macOS something newer than Catalina to follow these steps as well until we can get this fixed. Right, but now that you have your file, we go into ArchiCAD here, and I'll start by removing my pre-existing plugin. So if we're here now in ArchiCAD, you go to Options and Add-on Manager, click Add over here, go to wherever your downloaded files are, and in my case it's this one. Press OK, and it seems good. And if everything worked correctly and if you chose the correct version of the plugin here, you should get this menu over here. Yeah, if you get some error messages, probably you downloaded the wrong version of the plugin, or probably if you're using macOS Catalina or later, then probably you didn't follow these steps. Right, but once you have the plugin working for you, you can go ahead and download some CTP files from Cetopo. So I'm just going to click this property here and download that file using this default settings here. Let's see what we got. So you click the Cetopo menu, import Cetopo file, you select the CTP file from your downloads folder, press OK, open, and you get this dialog. This dialog asks you how do you want to import the file you just downloaded. So the first option just places it at the origin without doing anything else, but we're going to use the second option here, which imports also the location information from the CTP file into your project. So we click OK, and we get this view here. So what did I mean by project location? Well, if we go here to project location, we can actually see that the plugin also imported the location of this project as well as the project north angle to this ArchiCAD project. And this is very handy, as we'll see later. Now here in this view we can see that we got some coordinate grids. We have the building, there's a property number, there's apparently a road there, and then there's the terrain mesh in the background. All of this of course looks a bit better in the 3D view, where we have the 3D building, we have the terrain visible, and we have a bit of a road as well here. So what are these objects that we just got? Well, the mesh here, or the terrain, is a mesh, so it's you can click these points and you can then also edit them. So if I take that here and move that one, I can move a point, and I can also move it in the Z direction to create this little bump if I want. So the mesh is very easily editable, and it's an intelligent ArchiCAD mesh. The buildings are morphs. They can be selected, deleted, and whatever you want. The roads are also meshes, so just like the terrains, I can select this one and I can move the vertices of the road if I want to change its shape. The 2D items here are zones, so if I click the property here, then it will select all of that property, for example. All of these things are on layers, so if you go to the layers view and show your layers, oops, not that one, then you'll get this view here, and you can see that all of the Cetopo layers by default have the Cetopo extension, which allows you to easily hide some of them if you don't want some of the Cetopo data visible. Right. But one very handy thing here, if we've now selected this quite small area in Cetopo, is to actually get more data from the surrounding area. So if we go back to Cetopo here, we can use some of the tools in Cetopo to select a wider area around our building here. Let's select a little bit more, and then we can go ahead and check on the settings a little bit. We'll choose, for example, contours, and let's say 1 meter contour sounds okay for our needs. Also simplify it a little bit so they're not overly detailed. And we go ahead and disable grids for we don't want that, and let's just keep all the other settings like they are, and let's download this file. Right, now we got the zip file. Because there's some warnings there as well, we'll have to extract the zip file. We'll get the CTP file and a warnings file inside there. If we go back into ArchiCAD now and import the recently extracted file, we can actually choose now the third option in the dialog, because we've already imported some location information into our project. So now using the third option, we see that the exterior that we just chose actually just fits perfectly here. So if we look at our project, we now have also the exterior area here. One thing that actually is missing here is that I actually took the entire area, not just the exterior. So you see there's no hole in the middle here. That's actually my mistake. So we should go back here, or actually we can just use the Alt key here to remove the center. So now you can see that we have a hole in the middle. The result will be exactly the same, except that we don't have the central thing there. So let's just get rid of these settings quickly, and there we go. Now we have another zip file and another CTP file. And if we go back to ArchiCAD and import that one instead, and again use the third option, now we can see that our selection perfectly fits snugly around our previous selection, and we now have two models in one. So if we go to the 3D view, we can see that there's a pretty tight seam here, and that we have a contour-based model on the outside instead, and it's a pretty rough one with a 1 meter contour, so it works well as a background for our more detailed model here on the inside. The contours are very easy to edit as well. You can take them with different degrees of detail. This one is fairly detailed, but you could of course have taken it with a lot less detail if you wanted, for example with 2 meter contours and with more rough contour edges. But yeah, that's how you use Cetopo with ArchiCAD today. I hope that helps clarify some of the first steps on your Cetopo journey, and I recommend that you also check the other video tutorials that are available. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.